game for Deshaun Watson. He looked completely awful. He was getting booed out of the stadium by the fans. Todd Monken just
What happens when a $250 million franchise quarterback steps up to the post-game podium and completely, undeniably shatters into a million psychological pieces? We are currently witnessing one of the most unprecedented, highly toxic meltdowns in the modern history of the National Football League. The Cleveland Browns didn't just suffer through a brutal, wildly inefficient preseason performance. They watched their supposed leader openly declare war on his own fan base. Deshaun Watson's latest press conference wasn't just a bad interview. It was a terrifying look into the mind of a player who is completely broken, entirely devoid of accountability, and
In dark moments like maybe today or in the past, what have you kind of leaned on to help you not fall into like a dark hole or something?
Yeah, I mean, it's not so much of like today wasn't really a dark hole. It was just kind of, it wasn't something that I didn't expect. I was just kind of neutral with it, but I just lean on my mom, and ultimately, I lean on my wife. That's my biggest.
absolutely terrified of his own home stadium. You are locked into NFL Zone Talks, the absolute, undisputed authority on the raw, unvarnished truth behind the biggest cover-ups, positional battles, and locker room dynamics shaping the league. Make sure you absolutely smash that subscribe button, hit the like, and let's dive directly into the incredibly dark reality of the Cleveland Browns quarterback crisis. To truly comprehend the sheer, mind-numbing absurdity of this situation, you first have to look at the massive, undeniable
body of work. How do you feel like you have presented yourself in terms of trying to win this thing?
I don't know. I mean, I think that's just gonna, that's gonna be Coach Monken's decision. So, I just continue to just try to win a day each and every day. And like I mentioned before, the organization, Jimmy D.
disconnect between the player and reality. During the preseason matchup, the Cleveland offense looked completely horrific. Passes were batted down, reads were missed, and the unit failed to generate any semblance of momentum. Naturally, the passionate, hard-working fans inside the stadium voiced their frustration with a chorus of boos. But when reporters asked Watson about the crowd's reaction, his response was absolutely staggering. He looked directly into the cameras and claimed that the booing had absolutely nothing to do with his awful performance on the field. He actively branded the fans' frustration as a disrespectful, deeply
for the organization.
Do you feel like you've won the job?
I don't know. I don't even put myself. I don't even get my hopes up, honestly. I mean, yeah, I think I've done a good job to be able to lead this team and be a starter in this league, but
personal attack. Instead of looking in the mirror, taking accountability for completely failing to move the chains, and vowing to play better football, Watson immediately played the victim card. He essentially told the world that his poor play wasn't the problem. The fans were the problem. But that wasn't the whole story, because the press conference immediately took an incredibly dark, highly disturbing turn. When pressed on whether simply playing better football would cure the toxic relationship with the city, Watson violently ripped off the Band-Aid and exposed a deeply held, festering resentment. He explicitly brought up the moment he tore his Achilles on that very same field 2 years ago, openly accusing the Cleveland fan base of actively cheering for his devastating injury. He stared at the reporters and essentially asked, "How can I play for a city that celebrated my downfall?" This is a massive, completely insurmountable psychological barrier. You absolutely cannot ask an offensive line to bleed for a quarterback, and you cannot ask a city to rally behind a leader who holds a deep, bitter grudge against the very people buying the tickets. Watson isn't playing to win for Cleveland. He is completely trapped in a toxic cycle of resentment. And what happened next would
get myself back from 2 Achilles injuries and putting the time in and, being around the facility, being around the city, doing charity work in the city, supporting the Cleveland Browns.
Completely shock everyone, delivering the absolute death knell to his tenure as the face of this franchise. In a moment of pure, unadulterated vulnerability, Watson made a jaw-dropping admission that should instantly disqualify him from the starting job. He stated that he actually receives far more love and support during road games than he does in his own city. He then casually suggested that if the front office does name him the starter,
there were some boos out there. Just what was your kind of reaction in the moment?
I mean, I didn't have no reaction. I think the biggest thing is
It might be better if the Browns just played 17 away games. Let that incredibly terrifying statement completely sink into your brain. The supposed leader of the Cleveland Browns, the man handed the largest, fully guaranteed contract in the history of the sport, is actively terrified of playing inside Cleveland Browns Stadium. When a franchise quarterback openly admits that the home crowd's energy is completely destroying his mental state, the front office has absolutely no choice but to permanently pull the plug. This staggering fragility exposes a terrifying void of leadership that is currently paralyzing the entire organization. When reporters lobbed him a softball question, asking if he felt he had finally done enough to secure the starting job, Watson completely folded. A true alpha dog, franchise quarterback.
Lord put me through situations for a reason, so I don't regret anything at all. But I had different thoughts on how it was going to be, but it is what it is. Sometimes the tables turn, and I'm patient enough because I'm a child of God to wait for that time to change. So I'm not tripping on it.
Would immediately project absolute confidence, declaring that this is his team and his offense. Instead, Watson offered a weak, entirely passive response. He explicitly stated that he hasn't gotten his hopes up, and he is completely leaving the decision in the hands of the coaching staff and the front office. He sounded like a defeated backup, not a $250 million savior. He spoke about leaning on his mother and his wife just to survive the dark moments and the negative energy of the stadium. While mental health and familial support are incredibly important, an NFL locker room absolutely demands a ruthless, fearless general on the gridiron. Right now, Watson is projecting the exact opposite. This complete psychological collapse.
What's your feeling on that?
I don't know. The only time I feel that energy is when I'm in the stadium or it's on social media. Like I mentioned before, when I'm in public, no one's mentioned anything. So I think that's the only time those people that's holding it in is trying to, disrupt the energy. You know what I'm saying? Because this is
forces us to look directly at the incredibly explosive dynamic brewing on the opposite side of the depth chart. While Deshaun Watson is sitting at the podium, actively complaining about the fans and questioning his own status on the roster, Shedeur Sanders is standing on the sidelines with absolute, terrifying confidence. Sanders operates with the exact type of fearless, bulletproof bravado that this completely fractured franchise desperately needs. The Browns' locker room is watching this unfold in real time. They are watching a highly paid veteran crumble under the weight of the city's expectations, while a young, hungry rookie is actively dominating the practice fields and demanding the spotlight.
Play out. I just take it one day at a time, and whenever that time comes, it comes.
Todd said he doesn't know when he's going to make it, but he wants to get somebody in place so they can start getting all the reps with the ones. And I know we talked about it before, but how valuable would that be to be the guy and then moving forward get all those ones that just went down?
Yeah, I think it's very valuable for whoever the position goes to.
You cannot roll a mentally shattered quarterback out onto the field in week 1 when you have a dynamic, highly confident playmaker actively breathing down his neck. The locker room will completely turn on the coaching staff if they protect a player who doesn't even want to play in front of the home crowd. Furthermore, we have to analyze the incredibly dangerous position the Cleveland front office has backed themselves into. General Manager Andrew Berry and the ownership group orchestrate.
Yeah, I think it's going to be helpful for not just the quarterbacks, but I think just for the whole offense and the whole team.
Good.
I was going to ask real quick, Deshaun, do you feel like, if you are named
this massive, highly controversial contract? They tied their entire professional legacies to Deshaun Watson's success. But how do you justify starting a player who just openly declared war on the fan base? If Watson struggles in the first quarter of the opening regular season game, the boos will be absolutely deafening. The stadium environment.
She's been there the whole time, through my situations, the last 5 years. So she's the best person in the world that I can, lean on and, that have that support. But, I say my wife and my mom for sure.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Will become entirely toxic, and Watson has already admitted he does not possess the mental fortitude to defeat that negativity. The coaching staff is staring down the barrel of a complete, unmitigated disaster if they try to force this relationship to work. We are officially standing at an absolute, undeniable precipice regarding the immediate future of this incredibly talented football team. The practice field illusions are completely over, and the political spin from the front office can no longer hide the truth. Deshaun Watson just grabbed a microphone and told the entire world that he is mentally broken, deeply resentful of the Cleveland fans, and entirely unsure if he even deserves the starting job.
Just blew it. Welcome to Keep the Vision. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the channel, hit the bell notification, hype the video. That'd be greatly appreciated. Let's get right into it. Deshaun Watson, I don't know what you're going to say to fix this, but you looked awful. You were getting booed. Todd Monken is pissed. Take it away.
I don't know. I got hit, so I was asking guys on the sideline what happened. So I haven't even seen the play actually.
The era of protecting the contract is violently colliding with the undeniable reality of his psychological state. I want to hear your absolute raw, unfiltered thoughts down in the comments below. Do you genuinely believe a quarterback can successfully lead a franchise when he openly admits he is terrified of his own home stadium? And do the Browns have absolutely any choice left but to hand the keys to Shedeur Sanders? Drop your absolute best, most aggressive takes below. Make sure you hit that subscribe button to stay permanently locked into the absolute truth, and I will see you all in the very next deep dive.